Good morning, everybody, and good evening. 1 second before the thing loads and I can switch it off. That's my introduction, Radhika, to all my good morning, everybody. Yes, you can hear that. Yeah.
Yes.
So, good morning, everyone, and I have yet another mom, but I must tell you that we had our first mothers meet yesterday, and just to see them pop up one by one by one on the screen, like I should suddenly realize that this dream is coming true of getting these mothers together, and it was just totally beautiful. I know I will have all 100 of them on the Zoom session on the day of the launch, and that's just going to be just something else altogether. So thank you to all the moms who've supported this thing. Thank you to all the comments that are coming. Thank you to all the love that you're showering to this project. Thank you for stepping up and showing the courage to come out with your stories. Some of the stories have not been told at all by anyone, and they're coming up with it in a book. Thank you for also wanting to take self portraits. I know it's tough. Thank you for writing your stories. Thank you for everything. We have now our 44th mom. Very soon, 56 more moms, and we will be reaching the 50 mark. And
Yes.
we must celebrate finding 50 moms across the world. We have Radhika here. Radhika, welcome, and
Thank you.
thank you for you know coming up here and accepting to be one of the moms. You have two-faced story. One is a fun level, which is like on another level, and one is a very serious issue. So it was very important to get to know that a mother can do both at the same time. So that's why you are here. And you'll
Thank
have to move a little forward because of the sound. So you'll have to just come a little closer to the, yeah, yeah.
you.
That's come a little
Now,
closer. Yeah,
yes.
good. So
Okay.
just go ahead and introduce yourself, Radhika, your story till here. What's the journey like?
Yes. Hi, Shikha. Thanks, first of all, to getting me into this kind of a platform. It's amazing. And you're doing an amazing job on that one.
Thank
So,
you.
I've been married for 16 years, having a very supportive husband. I'm a mother of two. The elder one is 13 years. So, the proper teens has started. The younger one is 10. The elder is called Shaurya. The younger one is Rishona. Now, I am a hands on mom. If I would say in Corona, I become leg, feet, stomach, all on. So that's
All of
what's
us have.
going on
All of us
in
have.
the last 2 years. Apart from that, I started my NGO called Peace. It's a short form of Parents Ensuring a Child Safe Environment. We basically do programs and workshops in schools, in institutes, in clubs, in communities, where we talk about the topic that's not supposed to be spoken about is child sexual abuse. So we speak about that, we create awareness, we start people to talk about things, because in India the problem is keep everything hushed, keep it under the carpet. It should not come out, it should not be spoken. There should be things like your genitals should not even be discussed. Those kind of things come out. So we hear a lot of stories, and once we start talking about it, it's not only the children. When I start talking, the friends of my age group, my mother's side, those people, everybody has gone through some kind of an abuse.
Yeah.
Everybody has gone through some kind of molestation in any part of the time, in their childhood, maybe in their younghood, anytime. So when they're adults, also this happens. The age of 40, 45, also it happens. So that is one part of my story. So I was very passionate about it. I'm an ex-banker, so I did my banking career for almost 10 to 11 years. And after having kids, I wanted to do something else. The corporate life was not working on, and I left in the peak of my career. So I was thinking like, it's not happening now. I've got my name. I was given an AGM position at around 26 years, which I was the youngest AGM. But I said not more than that, because once the young one was born, the first one was born, I was not able to give that much time as I would. And I had already made a mark. So I said, They said, okay, now sales you can't do, we'll give you an operation kind of a job, you don't have to go out, don't have to meet customers, no relationship management, so just be there. I said, no, I would not be doing justice to what I exactly like, and I would not be happy. So then that was the time when I said, no, corporate is going off the radar now. And then I started taking care of my children. That's when they started their play school. Both of them were going into school. And then, it again hits you. Now what? You're an MBA, you've done so much. What next? What to do? And that's where the small seed started on, and I was very passionate about it. And then I started doing this. I took training from another NGO which trained us. We are a core team member of 5, and they trained us thoroughly, and from there on we take programs and this thing. Now the fun part that you were talking about, apart from
Before you
that.
say that, 1 second, I have to stop it here with one thing because the fun part is also very interesting. But I have to stop this here. Melanie
Okay.
is here. She's a parent expert. She's a teacher. And when you said, what happens in India is this, my first reaction, because now I'm also talking globally, and I've been interacting globally for past 1 year. She's written, these attitudes are everywhere in the world, and that's the truth. It's
Absolutely.
not India. Like, this mother pulse is not Indian pulse. This fact that this mother feels like it's not Indian. The fact that sexual abuse is very common at a very young age is not an Indian thing. It is happening globally, and you will be amazed the amount of events I have been going to, where transformational events and other events, every mother who comes up and has a transformation has had some kind of sexual abuse at a very young age, or
Yes.
being raped, or being molested, or being treated like that. So this we have to. It would be amazing if you can bring this into your organization. That now it's not a India issue; it is a global issue, and it's not talked about. And thank you, Melanie, for pointing it out, because I thought I was the only one who was feeling that. But Melanie supported here from Jamaica, saying that because she's a teacher, and that's what happens. You put it under the carpet, and then you grow up uh,
All
the
your life.
way. And
Yes.
then, of course, if you're a woman and you become a mother, she's dealing with that as well. Like when she becomes a mother, she's dealing with all those issues. So it doesn't end there. It goes on, and it goes on to your children, the effect of it, the fear of it, the clinging on to your children, protecting them, uh,
Overprotecting. Yes.
and energy wise, I must explain this because I'm hearing it more and more. Oh, my daughter is growing up. This is what happened to a 14-year-old, I heard. Oh, my daughter is 7 years old. I heard this from my 7-year-old. And the fear is so strong now that they start associating, like anything, they're going out, they're doing something, there's always this fear what happens and what doesn't. So, and if you go back, then mother has experienced it, and so she knows it, and that's why it comes up. So I think it's definitely a global issue, but what you're doing is absolutely important. And I know even that started when you were a mom and you heard this absolutely crazy case in India about
Yes.
this girl, a little girl, and the Arushi case has inspired you all to take up a step and talk about it, because that was just like that was just unbelievable what happened there. And the whole thing is that you got inspired because you also had the mother pulse, and you also could feel what if it's our kids and how will we handle it. So you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
I must honor you for taking up this. Yes, what is the difficult part in India is to take it up and talk about it on a regular basis. That's definitely very difficult in India. It's not very easy in our traditional society to talk about it very easily. And that's a brave part that you're doing, and you're taking it to schools. And I'm absolutely hats off to schools who are also wanting to bring this into their curriculum and to talk about it. So that's, I just wanted to stop you because this was, I would have forgotten. Then what happens is that you just keep going, and then I just forget. So let's talk about the second fun part about your that's a very exciting as well.
Okay, the second fun part is that we as a family have been featured lately to be the Indian family of 4 who's traveled 65 countries at a span of 5 years.
Right.
So that's been, I mean, it didn't come as, tick, tick, tick that we started on, but once we started, it just happened. And no plan as such. It's just that we worked on our schedules, we worked on our holidays, And we said, let's go ahead. People think that, when kids are small, my kids were as young as 5 and 3, I think, or 4 and 2 when we started off this kind of a journey.
Yeah.
But it's easier, trust me. Once you start off young, first is it's easier financially, because you're not paying huge amounts of the staying, boarding, and traveling. And when you go to Europe, until 5 years, all the kids, all the transport and everything is free. So that's a big thing to, from once you're coming from India and your Indian passport. So that's a big advantage there. And once you plan it well, you plan your, the finger foods, you plan your children, and you make them understand that that's what we have to do. You have your things geared up.
Yeah.
It becomes easier. It
Yeah.
becomes easier. So I think you start talking to them, you start showing them, and that this is where we are going to go. And you have some children activities there. You can't be just telling them that it's always nature and always this. So you start getting on the, either are you going to an elephant orphanage in Sri Lanka, or you're going through Kenya and you're showing them, a rhino. There we saw a rhino and they could go and touch that rhino. So things like that really, really encourages them, and the kind of people they meet. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think this kind of education, Melanie is in the chat. She'll also agree with me. This kind of education is absolutely, like, you, nothing can teach you. No National Geography watching, no sitting and talking about things and encyclopedias can do. This hands-on meeting, telling your children that the world is this. There are so many countries. There's so many people, and making them go through it. So would you tell people that it's an expensive thing to do, and that's why you can do it? How did you manage the expense part? Yes, you managed the time part, but
Yes.
a lot of
So
people get stopped with the expenses as well.
the expense part, see, we always had a budget as to where we do. So people, when in fact, there was when we were covered, we were called the middle class Indian family, and a lot of people started, trolling that this they cannot be middle class when they are traveling like this. How can you call them middle class? See, middle class are the values. In our society, middle class is not nothing to do with what your financial strata is, what it is. So what we started doing is we started understanding what's important for us. Many people would go ahead with their bonuses, and there everybody is earning pretty normally well. It's how you spend it and how you feel what is important at what point of time. So we were in a small car for 10 years. We didn't mind. We did not want to go and invest in a bigger car for almost 10 to 11 years. We did not have our own house. We used to stay in a rented house, because we thought that the amount or the money that we are giving, apart from the school education, like you said, this education for our kids was very, very important. And
Absolutely.
education is one investment that we all would want to do for our children.
Absolutely.
And I would give you an instance. My child was 7 years. We took them to Athens, and there we met an amazing, amazing tour guide who took us through every historic monument, and he made it as a story form. From that time, my son Shaurya is glued to Greek mythology. I think he's only got books and books on Greek mythology, and he understands Greek mythology like nothing. I mean, he likes Indian mythology too, but Greek mythology became like a passion. And at least till last 2 years back, he wanted to become an archaeologist.
Yeah.
So, it might change things, because you become history such a boring topic. You don't want to do it. Greek mythology, who would want to know that? But when a 7-year-old child seeing those things and hearing those stories, you can ask him anything. I go back to him, okay, Shaurya, can you tell me what exactly did he say on this part? How did this god go like this? So he loves talking about Greek mythology and this. So, I mean, that's one of the advantages that you get. So it's one is that you keep a budget across. You always work on a budget. Second is pre-plan your holidays. You cannot do these last minute things, and also cover as many countries nearby. So we used to do day trips on road. So when we are going to, when we were in Barcelona, we did a day trip to Amadora, which is Andorra, sorry. Andorra is hardly 3 hours or 4 hours drive from there. But when you do that, you're in a new country totally. So don't miss that part, and that's how your cost keeps coming down. So that planning is a very, very important thing that we do.
Right. That's amazing, opening them up to so many new experiences. I agree, Melanie. I totally agree. And I'm like, why didn't I not meet her earlier? I should have got this idea and gone. Now COVID is going to, my older
It
ones,
has stopped our 2 years travel. Like we
yeah, it's
just
stopped. I,
off.
it's like it hardly started for me with my younger one. With the older one, we still travel, but with the younger one, because he was 4 months old, we've hardly done any travel. In fact, I've not been to my home, Delhi, for 2.5 years because my son
Yes.
doesn't wear masks, and younger one keeps removing my mask, and he'll remove all the shield. And even if I have to go meet my father or my brother or anybody, I would be carrying COVID to them. So I'm waiting that when will he grow up and I can say, please, can you wear a mask and can you let me wear a mask? So I'm literally, as a mother, also restricted, and I'm sure it happens to many mothers who had very young kids during COVID, because we have to accept this whole thing that for the safety of our people, we'll have to stay back because they don't wear masks, kids don't wear masks, and we have to go. So, and I must secretly tell you that I'm pretty jealous that I didn't do it before. Jealous is not the word, but I think I should have met you
It's just
before.
an inspiration. We also
No, it's
started
very
off
inspiring. It's totally
and
inspiring, and you took me when you were talking. Also, you took me with your children to so many places. And what I like about the fact is that here it is your profession. Here is this girl who's like absolutely at a peak of her profession. She leaves it with a very confident thing that I don't want to compromise my top place, and I want to leave it at that. And you were very clear, and you left it at that. Moved on to becoming a full-time mom. Moved on to getting into heading peace. Now traveling country, and this must be a journey of your 16 years, last 16 years, right? How beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? Making an impact in the world and at the same time enjoying it. And at the same time being fully involved with your children, inspiring them, doing it. You definitely one of the examples of the fact that you can do this. Everything is possible. And I must ask you this question that I'm sure you will go back to your mother or your parents, and it's coming from there. And Melanie is a parent expert, and she knows what I'm talking about. How are your parents and mom when they were raising you? I'm very inquisitive.
uh, they raised me with a very, very independent background. Like, first of all, we are two girls. So there is no issue of, ladka hai, that kind of a thing. The boy child is not there. We've never felt that. I've always had a very independent upbringing. When they used to got me a bike when I was in 10th, 11th. They give you a bike and they say, okay, now the monthly ration is yours. So you have to go get this. So they give you all those, but they also give you responsibility that, you get your freedom, but be responsible. So that part of it. And the second is independence to take your own decisions. So
Yeah.
when I wanted commerce, there was no this thing that, no, why are you taking commerce? Why not science? Never, ever. So that kind of upbringing, everybody has that, they were very clear till 10th, 11th, do well, and then go ahead with other things and stuff like that. So I had a very, very independent upbringing. And yes, I've also said this, my travels, this thing was with my dad, because any short holidays, we were in Delhi and he would take the car. We had a Maruti 800. So either it was four of us or six of us. The road travels were like we have to go to Agra or Jaipur or things like that. So it used to be road travels all along, always. So
Right.
he loved traveling.
I
Yes.
love road travels as well. I've done it with my younger one. I've done it with my father. And see, it comes back to that, right? Your parents doing that, and then you passing it on. It's part of your life. And what you've done to your children is going to get passed on very easily by them. Like it would be
Yeah.
something that is very normal for them. It's not going to be something
Yes.
that they don't know how to do. Okay, my son
And
is.
here I have my husband who's like, passionate about traveling. He's like, finishes one plan, he finishes one itinerary, and we have the next one. So that if you've done this in October, according to we see the December, like
Okay.
again, this comes in a lot of planning part. So he
Lovely.
does a lot of planning, which places would be cheaper in December, you don't go to, we still haven't gone to Switzerland. People would say, why not Switzerland? Because when we do the cost of Switzerland, we can cover 6 other countries. So that's how it happens.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's inspiring. So let's move on to
Yeah.
talk about quickly about peace, and
Okay.
then what is it that how are you putting this knowledge onto schools, and how do you process it? How do you go ahead with it? What is the fear of the mother in that situation? Um, you know, and from there we'll just move you know, I, I just I just got lost because I've become very visuals in these interviews. So when I suddenly see this travel, and then I suddenly see I got came out from there, and suddenly I saw sexual
Yes.
abuse as the thing to be spoken about, and I just got lost. So let's talk about it. How you're bringing it to schools? How are you bringing it to schools?
Okay. So what we do is we do workshops. Now our workshops are specific to the audience that we have.
Right,
We cannot have a workshop for a first standard and an eighth standard together.
right,
So what we do is we combine first, second, and we do a lot of audio visuals, lot of acts and stuff, because there are those children who don't even know that they're getting abused.
right,
So these are the children who really need to understand what is happening, and then they come out,
right,
because that is the problem in that age criteria, that they don't know anything about POXO. You can talk about POXO laws and stuff at a when at 1 year. But what we can do is we can show them videos, we can show, and then they can understand something is wrong. That was the feeling that I was having. And the main thing with the children want to know is how to express the feeling. Now, here is where we connect the lines with the teacher and the parent. Your child knows this, but now they need to express it. So, how does the communication happen? So, they will come 1 or 2 steps, but the 5 steps have to be taken by a teacher or the parent, a mother or a father. So once they come and talk to you, if supposing a girl is coming and asking when you're giving her a bath and talking about her genitals, you can't shush her, you can't tell her no, we will not talk about it. This is shame, because I think in where I was growing, they used to call a vagina shame. And can you understand what the girl would feel through when she's spoken to it like that? Right now, yes, you have Google and things like that, where they would try to find out things, and wrong informations will start coming. But at that point of time, what the mother that time has done is has stopped all communication. Whereas she could have just said that this is a very important part, like your finger, like your hair, like your head. When
yeah.
we start talking about body parts, we just forget our genitals.
So
We just talk.
I'll get there. Thing I've raised my sons like that. It's just another body part, right?
Yes,
And then
it's
when he comes in, like for him and my children, it's just another body part. And I'm a photographer. They are absolutely still this. I think he's 8 and 7, and they are all roaming around, even sometimes without their clothes in the house, and just walking from one bathroom to another bathroom and everything. What happens is that when you start interacting with like sometimes he went and opened the door when he was 5 or 6 without clothes, because he was in the bathroom, he would go running and open the door, and then people around would have like, like, aren't you teaching him? So I'm like, for him it's just, and he has said it, like, so when happens, like, he's sitting here, but what happens is that he would start knocking the door, and somebody would say, I'm in the bathroom, door, open the door, like my husband's sister. And she's like, I'm in the bathroom, can you stop knocking? And he was very attached to her. He's like, it's just a body part, why are you so scared? And at the age of 5 and 6, and she would just laugh, and she's like, my God, first in India, also we are raised like that, and we're not used to it. So the child coming in also at the age of 5, 6 is considered a very grown up child. So now at the age of 8, I've started telling him that, like, now that you're moving out in the society, like, just, I know it's just a body part, but that's for you to know. That does not mean that you just start roaming around here and there and just shocking people out, because it doesn't matter. So, and that's when my next question comes in, is that when you're talking about sexual abuse, when you're talking to children about it, I so found, and it is totally a question out of inquisitiveness and not a statement. So that should not be considered as a statement. When I was photographing some mothers and some families, and they had daughters, and like even if the daughter said a slightly something which might not be real, there would be a havoc happening around suddenly. Because why? They were trained in the school, they were this thing. Who did it? Who did it? Who did it? Who did it? And it just went on another level of phobia.
Yes,
Because
totally.
other than probing and asking and finding out that was it just a normal hug? What is it? Let's talk about it. Did you confuse yourself? And not saying it anyway. Because then what happens is when organizations come to us and speak to us sometimes, and they'll say, no, you're not listening to your child. She's saying something. There's another jump, and then there's another thing saying that no, it is something happened, and the father starts jumping, and I have seen it, and I'm just like, and later on, sometimes even a 10, 11-year-old said, I was just trying to make it up something. And then there such a huge reaction comes that even if they're trying to make an imaginative world or something that happened, that you know it just goes crazy. So the
Yes.
fear has entered through sometimes education in a way that we can't differentiate. So do you feel that happens to parents?
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's our first thing. When so many cases in school started happening, it's very easy to point fingers at the school and saying that, it happened in your school, it's your teachers. In fact, there was, after that Bangalore case, the horrendous Bangalore case, where there was a mandate in one of the Chennai schools that take away all your male teachers. Is that the way to deal with a problem like that? I mean, don't they male teachers are the earning members of their family? How would you just make a mandate like this and say by the next month all the male teachers should be out? So this is where they don't have full knowledge as to how to deal with it. The males are not the only ones who are abusing, FYI. There are also females who abuse kids equally.
Yeah,
So that is another education point which they don't have. So just pointing a gun, and if the child has to be there, and child loves making stories, you just have to intrude a little. You need to understand what exactly happened before jumping into conclusions. So I
yeah.
get this question that, it's good that you talk and you're speaking so much, but isn't it getting a fear phobia into people? Isn't it not, trying to make people think much more than it is there? First of all, it is there. It
It's
is
there,
not
absolutely.
we so by talking about it and by telling kids that understand the difference, and kids have, what we are trying to tell the parents is that trust your children basically. So
Yeah,
even if it is that uncle whom they don't want to sit on their lap, and they don't want to be near that, it doesn't matter if it is your own brother.
yeah.
It doesn't matter if it is your father's elder brother. It is fine. It's their trust that you need to trust them and say that they are getting those feelings. So let them be. Let them decide. Give them that kind of trust. So
Right.
these are the things that we tell very young children, because they don't even know what abuse is. They
That's
just work on their feelings. They just work on how they feel while being touched, and that is what we talk about in our programs. So don't jump to conclusions. Don't make everybody your enemies, because that's now, and if you can't give a place where the child and the parent is always scared. You need to empower them with knowledge and awareness, but you can't always make them feel scared to even go out. And like I said, I have been raised independently. Things will go wrong, but you need to handle that, and you need to be strong about it. So that's more
yeah.
important.
And I think that, and being Melanie being here as well, she'll agree. It's not always about children saying no to you because they are feeling sexually not okay with somebody. The
Yeah.
vibrations are not okay enough, and it could be some anger vibration. It could be some uncomfortable energy around the person. It could be just that they're not comfortable. So we don't have to straight away relate to it. Oh, she doesn't want to go to this man or this uncle because it's a sexual thing that she's feeling. And it could be just that some people are not very pleasant, or some people are carrying some energy, or some people are carrying some anger, and children are very sensitive and they just don't want to go there because they're sensitive, right?
It's, and
To
every child is different.
and they will come and tell you, we don't want to meet that uncle, or that uncle is boring, or this person or this son. It could be just normal bullying, it could be just
Absolutely.
normal. normal, a older brother just trying to bully, and he doesn't want to go near, or she doesn't want to go near, because they feel very overpowered around them. They feel as if, they are taking their space. So I think that's where the raising of this thing is creating a lot of, because it's not, oh, uncomfortable, pull him back, it's a sexual thing. Like, that's the knee jerk reaction that's happening with the education that's coming around it, because now we're going on another spectrum altogether. And I can, that's right, they could just not like them. Yeah, that's it. Like, and I think, uh, uh, the whole thing that we need to understand is that just trust your child with what's happening. Don't, and I know this, sometimes I see that just a friend has even picked up a daughter just to play, or a 3 4 year old, and I can see the mother and the father just pulling back because she's become 3 4 years old. And sometimes I can see as an outsider, it's just a normal thing. I can feel it, and they are enjoying. The girl is enjoying. They are enjoying. They're laughing. But even in me as a mother, the first thing comes, you know, is he interested in her? What's going to happen? This is going to happen, And a lot of times, I am very guilty of even telling my brothers and all, I think just don't do that. They're not feeling very comfortable about it. I can see that, right? And my brother is a very, like, my brother or my husband, uh, like, I've started telling them, pull back, because I can see that they are feeling not okay when you're dealing with or playing with. And then I see that reaction of those parents with everything who's coming near. And I'll tell you, I hope that that mother is not here. But she's here. She's a very good friend of mine, a very good client of mine. But she's told her daughters that if somebody even comes near you, and not like she lives in a farmhouse in a staff of 80 people. She has 2 daughters. She's actually very scared. You just bite them and just run away and start screaming. Can
It's
you
a
imagine?
yeah, you've created in the child. Yeah. So
And
you
I
can.
was shooting, and I was like, "This is what you've told her." She's like, "Yeah, I've told her that if anybody comes near and for a second also you feel that you're not okay with it, just go bite them and just scream and just leave and start screaming." Can you imagine what we've put in our child's head?
I mean, that's sad. I mean, I can understand
What's that?
sometimes
It's
the
still again a mother. It
mother.
comes
Yes,
down to a mother. What
yes,
has she gone through? I don't know.
absolutely. Yes,
It's just understanding it. And that's why I love this project even more, because it comes back to you being a mother, and all you're doing is protecting, you're giving her, because she has a staff of 80 people, including gardeners and this thing, and the children can run away anyway. It's a big property. And if she's a little busy and she finds her daughters in some corner of the farmhouse where nobody's accessible, she's just told that to her daughters because she's scared.
actually, you don't blame her because then seeing this whole thing, what you feel is that it's better to be careful than be sorry because sometimes
Yeah,
that could
but
also happen.
but what does Melanie has to say about it? I mean, because she's into expert of children and parents. But I'm just saying, yes, on one front only it's okay,
Only, yes, only on one front.
but on other front she will bite her husband or her boyfriends
Yes,
or everybody who's going to just come near her.
absolutely. She cannot get that affection any point of time because she's always going to be scared. She's always going to.
Anybody coming near would be like bite them and start screaming. How do you deal with it? It's sensitive, and there is no. I'm not judging it. And in this project, I stopped judging mothers also altogether. Toward little bit, I used to judge. I've studied because I'm like, what happened to you? That you're passing it on and you're saying it, that I'm passing it on absolutely openly, saying that scream and bite and go. Something happened to her child, or something happened. And I found her very restless all the time.
It
And
doesn't go away, Shikha. If something happens to you at a very young age, it never goes away. It haunts you, and it tries to haunt you all your life. Even if you, and that's where we try to say because communication is so important. If she would have communicated, or I'm just giving random example, if we were able to communicate to our parents at that point of time, half of the issues would have kind of finished because you talk, you say that this has happened, and they will take your steps. They are our trusted adults, they would take the required steps. The moment that is kept inside you, the moment you are not able to talk about it, the moment you feel ashamed that it is you who has done something wrong, because all this life, like I said, that when you call your genitals shame, shame, and the perpetrator is touching your genitals, you are feeling shameful rather than pointing fingers at them.
Yeah.
Or he is not even pointed or spoken about. He's absolutely fine having his own family, growing up, and it's okay. But the child who's grown and has gone through it is going to deal with it very, very differently, in a different manner. And tomorrow, if she becomes a mother, she will react in very, very different ways.
Yeah.
So that's very important. So communication is the most important with the child.
And Melanie is saying it really depends on how it's explained. Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. When I think how it's first absorbed by the parent itself before it's explained is a very important thing. It's a very, very important thing. And I don't know whether Melanie can give us some light on the fact that it's a shame, shame, but yeah, that's a very common word. And that was not allowed when my kids were growing up. And if, and sometimes it's not even, I mean, it's just become another word. Like, Xerox has become means photocopying. Like Xerox is a word, it's a company, but it means photo, it doesn't mean photocopy. It's photocopy is a word, Xerox is a company. And in our country, it's very common when somebody is not wearing clothes and the child is refusing to wear clothes, you say shame, shame, come on, oh, he's got shame, shame. And that's become a Hindi word more than the English word anymore without knowing any reason. And it's become that word. And I kept that word very away from my children as well. I'm like, fine, they're absolutely. Anyway, I'm inspired by one of this photographer who shot her children roaming around whatever way they wanted to. And when they were in their, like before 6 or 5, I'm forgetting her name. She was a very celebrated photographer who had her kids like in the bathtubs and who had her children roaming around, absolutely being comfortable. And she had done that work almost 40 years back about that the kids need to know that this is their body and like it's not needs to be hidden, right? And that's where she brought that work out. And so I had that in my mind, and that was my influence. So my children were like going and opening doors without wearing anything, and there were like shockers happening. He was always all of 5, and his friends would come, and I know his friends coming and saying, "Go and wear your clothes at the age of 5." I'm like, he'll wear it. It's okay. Why are you? He's like, no, we can't look at him. He's not even wearing his clothes. And he would just go like looking at me like. So I wondered as a mom, what have I done? Like, I'm like, is he going to be dealing with this all the time? Is he going to be dealing with this whole thing when kids are going to come, or people just giggle on him, or just like, uh, even now I've told him he's 8, and I'm like, Shaurya, can you just like go and wear your clothes? Like he's thinking, he's reading an encyclopedia, and he's about to go for a bath, and some encyclopedia comes his way, and he's just sitting there, and I'm just like, can you just go and wear your clothes and sit and read the encyclopedia, because now you're growing up, and it would be nice that if you can come up outside. But I'm just like, so is that okay to raise him like that? And now, so I just feel that every stage becomes a challenge, and every stage gets there. So to what level you can bring them, and then you have to explain to them the next level that now you're growing up, it would be nice if you wear clothes. And he's just like, all right, I'll go and do it. But for him, it's not a big thing. And just to say this in this interview, for mothers to change clothes in India in front of your 2-year-old or 4-year-old is also just a big thing. you know we don't want to change. I'm like, sometimes my son is sitting and I want to change, I just go and change my t-shirt and come out. Like, he's 8 years old, because I want him to know that this is just normal body parts. It's like there's not such a big deal about it. And in India, because we are not exposed, sister, brother, this, that, there are layers and layers and layers, that even the brother is ashamed of a woman's body if something they see, or something happens, they just say, oh my god, what has she done? So I think even that kind of raising is very new in India,
Yeah.
and the fact that you can like change in front of your son, no, who's like 7, 8 years old, is considered, oh my god, that's crazy, totally, right? So that's considered but the fact is that by doing all this, and again, Melanie will, she never heard the term shame, shame in reference to genitals. Not only genitals, Melanie is also used even if you're not wearing clothes. I think it passed on from something in our past, in some Britishers' time. Then they occupied us. This word shame, shame came, and then it just kept on passing on, and it's become a normal word in India. shame, shame, you're not wearing your clothes, shame, shame, you know, you're not wear your clothes, you're shame, shame. So that's like that's the common language that's used a lot in India. But the fact that this new way of raising is coming, the fact that we can tell them that you don't have to be obsessed if you see a
So,
woman walking,
coming.
right? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so like when you were about this, about your, the way we are raising. So that's another topic where it's all called about body shaming.
Yeah.
So body shaming has become such an important topic that thanks to the same DPS principal that I was talking to, and she came to me and she said that we need to do something about this, and we got that in our workshops now. So when you have, we have age groups of fifth, sixth, and seventh, we start talking about the body change. So we start talking about the boys' body changes. We start talking about the girls' body changes. Then we speak to them about periods and things like that. So it's the girls will know, they will go through, but how empathic our boys are towards it, and how it is
Absolutely.
nothing that they have to, because in the school sometimes there are white uniforms, and it's so, and they are getting their periods at the age of the sixth standard, fifth standard these
That's
days.
another
So
topic altogether now. The
you,
concept
yeah,
of period.
yeah, that's again, but the thing is that when they cannot be ashamed, or again shame because of that. So you need
Yes.
to understand that you need to be that boy who understands that their body is
Yes.
changing, they slowly your body will change. So these things are there.
No, absolutely. But what you're doing with the schools is a. And that's my son. Honey, give Ma 5 minutes. Melanie would be laughing right now because she laughs at me when this happens. Because she knows that now she can totally go lose her whole focus. And but anyway, the fact that you're dealing with sexual abuse in the school, the fact that you're talking about it, the fact that I would also urge that I think some counseling needs to come to parents, that it can't become a phobia into their head, and the generalization part can be taken out. If you're doing that, I'll be amazing. But I have, in my lifetime of photographing mothers, have witnessed misunderstanding a lot of information that's being passed on in order to sensitize people about it, right? Should we come here? So that's my alarm, that's my alarm.
Time for
And it's already going to be 9 for you. I know, so I have to wrap it up because I could talk about it forever, and you have to wrap it up at 9 as well. I didn't realize that we've already been speaking for so long. Okay, now listen, just go and take it out. Be ready, you'll fall. You will fall. You will fall. Okay. So tell me, Radhika, what is your dream? What's your dream? Let's talk about your dream. And you go ahead because I'm going to mute myself so that we don't hear him and you can talk about your dream.
okay. So, if I see my dream, there's only one particular dream, that through peace, I want to at least get this awareness on children that they can talk, they can voice it up, they can say things which is not correct. It could just be a simple thing that go and tell your parents if you're not feeling comfortable, because that's where we cannot, that communication is somewhere which is missing. Because when we take these programs with kids and all, there was a child which had these collar batches all around him, but when we had this activity to say how much do you share with your mother or your father, it became zero. And he says, I said, why? He says, because the only thing I talk to him is about getting grades and getting my 90%, 95. But if I am feeling something, or if there is a secret that I want to share with my parents, they are not there. They cannot listen to anything else or talk anything else apart from grades. So that kind of thing is what I want. First, it would be an ideal situation where there is no abuse. So that that would be a dream come true, that there is no abuse. But still, even if it happens at any point of time into any child, the courage to talk about it is what I want to give to the child. The courage to at least communicate and say that this has happened and steps, and you are not wrong, because that's the feeling the child goes through, that there's something that I did wrong with it, and that should not be there. So I can, if I can at least change that feeling in the on the child, that would be one dream, again with peace. And I think I've already told you about the dream with travel Indians, my own blog that started off with this, again, mothers and them asking, how do you travel? How do you do this? So we started blogging and we've put on that. So that would be someday financially and mentally, we can travel to Antarctica and put our Indian flag out there. So that would be the dream.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. But total inspiration, Radhika. With such simplicity, in your, personality, you are doing such massive things, both at the front of you being a mother and giving them 65 countries, to travel and to do it, to budget, to travel, to make them learn hands-on about the world, and at the same time touching the pulse of sexual abuse and sensitizing world, and choosing that as a profession, from being a banker, coming down, doing that, and making an impact. What else can we do? This is so perfect. So
Thank
you're a total inspiration,
thank
Radhika, and it's totally an honor to have you in the book. And I know I can keep talking about it, and I just realized it's 9 o'clock, because this topic itself is like that. Both the topic of traveling with your children and the fact that the sexual abuse thing needs to be coming forward more, and somebody needs to start handling it. It's very important. So thank you so much for being part of this book. I know the day starts with children. My day starts. The online class is about to start. I need to go on with my older one. Um, I'm looking forward to really talking to you in person as well, and where there's no chit chat and we're just sitting and just talking, because this is something very beautiful. So thank you for being part of this book and coming in this book. And I shall hand you over to one of my pillars, and we will take it from there. Yeah.
thank thank
Take
you,
care.
Shiv.
Take care. Just don't go off. I'm just going to go off live stream. Melanie, yes, Melanie is here because she's, in the space of being a family and a parent. She's a teacher. She's a parent expert. She's a child expert. So for having her in this conversation was amazing. As if three of us were having a conversation. So thanks, Melanie. Love you lots for always showing up like this. She's one of our pillars, by the way. We have 5 pillars, and Melanie is one of our pillars. And we'll meet you. You'll meet her very soon in the book. So take care. Bye bye, and bye, Melanie. See you.